This is The Civil Fleet, the podcast focused on activist-led refugee rescue and support missions across Fortress Europe, with me, Ben Coles. In this episode, we are going to speak with Ola, an activist from the Grupa Granica coalition in Poland, about the situation for refugees, migrants and people on the move at the country's border with Belarus. Ola tells us how border guards on both sides of the border are mistreating people on the move there, about the ping-pong pushbacks across the border, and how the country's Prime Minister, Donald Tusk, is planning to temporarily ban the human right to claim asylum. Insanity. Ola also tells us about Grupa Granica's work supporting people on the move with food, clothes and first aid, and how the authorities have treated them. So before we get into today's episode, I'd like to remind you about the usual stuff. Go check out the blog. It's not been updated for a while, but I will get back to that soon. The blog is civilfleet.com. We've got some interviews, some exclusive stories on there, and all kinds of things. So go to civilfleet.com to check that out. Also, if you like what the Civil Fleet is doing and you would like to help us to continue to platform the amazing people that we have had on here, then you can do that by making a small donation. You can go to a website called Ko-fi. The link is kofi.com/civilfleet. That's ko-fi.com/civilfleet. You can make a small donation there, the price of a coffee, like £3, €5, something like that, a couple of dollars. I'm not quite sure what the exchange rate is anymore. But yeah, the world is fucked. Everything is going to shit. But at least people are doing something about that and trying to help people on the move and to stand up for human rights. And that's what I hope this podcast does. That's why I want to get the people that we've interviewed on here. And if you would like to help us to continue to get these voices and to platform them, you can do that with a small donation. Anyway, to do that, go to kofi.com/civilfleet. ko-fi.com/civilfleet. Anyway, that's enough from me. Let's get on with the episode. So, Ola, shall we get started?
Yeah.
Okay, Ola, thank you very much for coming on the Civil Fleet podcast.
No problem at all.
So you are an activist with Grupa Granica. I hope I've said that right, in Poland. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk a little bit about the situation in Poland and the president's plans to suspend the right to asylum and all this kind of stuff. But first of all, Ola, could you just give us a bit of your background? Tell us how you got into this kind of solidarity work, or how you ended up working or volunteering with Grupa Granica.
I am Ola, I am 22 years old, and I work for Beskres Foundation. It's a Grupa Granica, it's a coalition of organizations, and I'm working in one of these organizations. It means Foundation Beskres, and I've been at the border since summer 2022, and I'm living about 7 kilometers from the Belarusian border, and I'm studying nursing. It's short about Grupa Granica and about the start of the humanitarian crisis. A Grupa Granica is like a coalition of organizations, and we are helping people on the move in Polish forest, and not only in Polish forest. I mean, we are just helping in hospitals, in orphanage, in closed camps, in open camps, and helping with lawyers and psychological help. And the Grupa Granica started working since the humanitarian crisis began at the border in 2021. And when I came up to the border, I've wanted to come and help in December 2021, but I didn't know anyone involved. And in one day in summer 2022, my friend, my close friend, she asked me, and I was in hospital, she asked me, "You want to come tomorrow to the border?" And I said, okay, I have 1 week break after the hospital, and I just came to the border, and then I stayed here, and I'm living since winter 2022.
Wow. So were you originally from this area near the border? Did you grow up like there, or have you moved
No,
here?
nope, totally not. I've never been before in this area, in Podlasie area, and because I'm coming from Zielona Góra, it's a city next to Polish-German border, and I wanted to visit Podlasie area because we have the beautiful forest there. I mean, it's the oldest forest in the Europe, and it's like a UNESCO forest, and we have bisons there, and it's really amazing. It's really amazing place.
I've heard of the bison. I've seen the bison on the vodka. Is it vodka? Polish vodka with the bison on the front, and it has like grass in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Well, that was really nice background. Thanks for that, Ola. What? How many different groups are involved in Grupa Granica? Do you know?
Grupa Granica, it's like a coalition, and the NGOs are similar, not exactly the same. You know, I'm working in the smallest one, I think, but we have a few NGOs that they are working mostly in the forest, but there is also some NGOs that they are helping for refugee children, not only from our border. I mean, also from a Polish-Ukrainian border. I mean, the Save the Children NGO. And Grupa Granica have few bases on the Polish-Belarusian border. One of the organization from Grupa Granica we are monitoring have an alarm phone on our border.
Yeah. So Alarm Phone have been on the podcast before. Just for people, I'll just explain for people who don't know. Alarm Phone is like it's an activist-run hotline organization that helps people in distress, often in the sea, and then I think they also help people in the border in like Niger and Libya, and like it's all over the place, right? Really great organization. So I wasn't aware that they were there. Actually, I did know that they were in Poland, but I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, so that's good to know. And so it seems like there's lots of different groups involved. What does it mean, Granica? What is it? Does it mean something, or is that just a name?
Grupa Granica, it means a border group.
Ah, okay, border group. Okay, and then we'll talk a bit more about Grupa Granica and what you actually do at the border and stuff in a few minutes, I think. But let's talk a bit about the background of the situation. I know Poland borders Ukraine, Germany, many other countries, and Belarus as well. So if we start off talking about Russia and Belarus, like, because as far as I know, they've been sending people on the move to the border with Poland as a kind of hybrid war, which I hate that term. But yeah. So can you give us a little bit of background on that?
Everything started in summer 2022 when the new migration road for Belarus opened. It began with a high profile situation, which a group of around 20 people from Afghanistan became trapped between two borders, and they were guarded by both soldiers, I mean Belarusian and Polish soldiers, and they wanted to cross and they were stuck there. Like, I mean, everything happened. Everything started then. Initially, peoples were lured. I don't know how to say. I mean, they had no idea when the crisis started what they were getting into. About, I don't know, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I was in the forest and there was a young girl. She was alone from Central African Republic, and that was also my first time when I saw a person from Central African Republic on the border. And she had no idea that she'd be fencing a forest crossing. And she told me that if she had known, she would never have taken this path, and she would never choose a road. Because she was in Russia, she started studying there, and they told her that she will cross the border to Poland by car. I mean, some smugglers, I think, they told her. And most of the people, they are flying to Belarus or to Russia on some work or student visas, and they are in Italy start their studies or job, but it often turns out that no one will extend their visa, and jobs aren't available, and without funds on the ability to return home of various reasons, of course, because some wars or they need to, they turn to this road. And I think it's like, it's sad, but it's the safest in Europe. I mean, people's dying in the forest, but it's not that much like on the sea. And of course, some peoples they are coming here to reach the fortress Europe. I mean, they are coming to Russia because that was the they have only one option to reach to fortress Europe, and they wanted to live a better life for their child or for themselves. Yeah.
So, like Russia and Belarus, they have offered, like, they maybe people in Afghanistan and Central African Republic and other places. Like, are they making it easier for them to come to their countries? And then, but when, like, how does that work? Do you know?
Can you repeat? Because I cannot remember what I want to say.
Yeah. So I was wondering if Russia and Belarus, if they have made it easier for people to come to their countries, but when they get to their countries, they can't find work, they have no support, and so they choose to come. They can't go home, right? So the next option is to come to Europe, Western Europe. Is that the situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's easily to get the visa for them, and sometimes I knew that they wanted to stay in Russia or in Belarus, but there is no option to ask for asylum there, and it's easy to get there, but the people, they don't have options, to go back to their countries because they are not safe there, or they just don't have place to go back because of the war. Yeah, and the Afghan, for examples, when the crisis started, that was one situation like this, and we know about more people that they were treated by smugglers to come here, but they also want to go to Europe, and I understand this like 100%, that they want to live a peaceful life.
How do you know if like the Russian governments and the Belarusian governments have been involved in the smuggling, or do they turn a blind eye to it? Do you know about that?
I don't really know. I mean, I'm giving the soup in the forest, and I'm not a specialist about the whole crisis. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. I just wondered about that.
Yeah.
'Cause I think, yeah, that maybe they're kind of helping people come, which is good and quite sad because they don't treat people. But yeah,
Yeah,
let's talk
I
about.
mean,
Yeah, go on.
oh, sorry. I mean, they are like a weapon, for them, because they just want to find a safe place, and they are giving them visas, for example, like smugglers helping them to get the visa to Russia or to Belarus. Um, but they are this weapon in this. Hybrid world. I really hate this name because it's not true. But they are using them like a weapons.
Mm. And did you like? I think we'll move on in a second, but I wondered what. So when the Ukraine war happened, lots of Ukrainian people came into Poland. I mean, how different was that situation? I mean, I imagine that that the Ukrainian people got to Poland very easily, but brown black people from Asia and from Africa, they have a very difficult time, right, at the border.
Yes, exactly. And, they were super proud that they are helping Ukrainians' moms and children on the Ukrainian-Polish border. And they just posted some videos, photos on their social media that they are proud they are helping them and how much of them they helped by different days, and in the same time that they pushed back some mothers and children on the Polish-Belarusian border, and that was super quiet. And it's super interesting because in one of the cities next to the border in Michałowo, it's like a quite small city. We have something like a sculpture that the government from Michałowo city made. It means the difference between Polish-Ukrainian border and Polish-Belarusian border, that the border guard helping a mother with child, and on the other sculpture on the Polish-Belarusian border, the border guard throwing them next to the fence. Yeah, and that was a lot of hate after this. I mean, some right people, some nationalists, some local fascists, they were super angry because they are trusting them so much that they are doing a great job. They were really angry that the government from Michałowo, the super small city, made it.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I mean it's horrible that these people are getting treated differently. But yeah, it's interesting to know that someone made this thing to point out the hypocrisy.
Yeah, and also I remember because in Ukraine you have some students. There were some students from some countries, from different countries, and I knew that the peoples who some Asian peoples or some black peoples who lived in Ukraine, and the war. The Russians started the war. They were also stopped on the Polish-Belarusian border to check their documents, to check there. I mean, I want to say that there was also racism on this border, that they needed to check their documents twice because of their skin color.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. It's really terrible, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Can you tell us, like, in your experience, how do the Polish and Belarusian authorities treat people on the move at the border?
Yeah, and in this topic, I think I have uh, a lot of to say, because from the People's Declaration we know how they are treating peoples, and I will start about Polish forces. We heard and we also see see people in the forest, and we also heard their stories. And mostly when the border guards or military catching the peoples, they are using pepper gas, pepper spray. They are destroying their phones. They are they are smashing their screens, or they are damaging their charging ports. Or if someone is a bit more intelligent, it's the port to SIM card. They just throwing the port to put the SIM card, because without the SIM card you cannot do anything. They are beating, they are destroying documents, and after they are saying that without documents you cannot apply for asylum. They can say that you are from the different country, and the power of attorney is not working, because the person was from different country, because they destroyed the documents. And we know that they are pushing back people without any clothes. I mean, naked, even in winter, without shoes. And about Belarus, I think we can say much more. I mean, the peoples, they are telling us that they are using dogs against peoples. They are beating them severely. Also in Poland, they are beating them to the chest, that you cannot see, that on the hands or head you can see that someone was beaten by, but under the clothes you cannot say, you cannot see on the first eye look that someone was beaten. They steal their food, that they are telling them that, oh, come, go to Poland, they will give you food there. They are also steal food, documents, money. The Polish also, they are stealing money. And I remember the guy, that was last year, with burns on his hands because the Belarusian soldiers had forced his hands into the fire. And we know that they shave. I will use the straight word. We saw guys. I mean, our friends from Grupa Granica. They were in forest helping guys that they had a shaved dicks on their heads,
Oh my
on
God.
people's hairs. Yeah, I remember also I was in the forest in this year, and the guys told me that the Belarusian forces forced him to stand on his knee 24 hours without any moving, because if you will move or tell something, they beat at you so hard. I remember the story that Eritrean women told me, that they are closing people in the car with aggressive dog, that the aggressive dog can bite them in this car. I think everything what you can imagine. They are just playing with the people, that they are collecting some people on the Belarusian area, and they are just putting them to the line, and they are just let the aggressive dog go to catch someone, and they just run away. And if the dog will catch someone, the dog biting them. Now everything what we can imagine and a bit more happened there. And I think I can tell you about the wall and the border, because it's happening in one area in Belarus. The Polish country, we have our wall. There is a main fence. I mean, the Polish one. It's built by the Polish government after the humanitarian crisis started. They built the which stand 5.5 meter plus a razor wire. It means like 6.5 meter. Then we have a Polish border road, that the armies and border guards patrolling this area, the border road. Then we have this second fence. It's like a 2-meter fence. It's only a razor wire. The Belarus also have its fence. We don't know exactly what it looked like because since the Soviet Union started building this wall, and we know that in different places it's a different, more new one, or really old one, and between them, between the Polish and the Belarusian walls, there is a strip of land controlled in 100% by Belarusian military, and civilians aren't allowed to access there. We have them only people on the move and Belarusian army. No one can enter this place. Even Red Cross organization, and we don't know what's happening there. We hear some stories, of course, but no one can enter to this area. It's abandoned, and the peoples, they are telling, they have the name for this area. Some activists were telling about this area, Sistema, but the people on the move name, it's Muharama. Sometimes it's 800 meters, sometimes it's 600 meters. It depends.
And so, that's kind of like a no man's land, we might say.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, that sounds really scary. No one can go in there, and I imagine lots of abuse could be happening in there. It sounds terrible. And I think I heard a while ago. I remember hearing about people being pushed back. Ping-pong pushbacks. They were pushed. They made it to Poland, but the Poland's guards sent them back to Belarus, and the Belarus sent them back to Poland. And I think people have died there, right? In this kind of situation.
Yeah, we know about the stories when 3 guys from Ethiopia they crossed the border, and one of them, he was in really bad condition. That the 2 of them decide to go to the city and ask a first person to send some help for their friend, and they met a guard from one company, something like this, and he called the border guards, and the guys they won't really ask for help for this friend, but they push back them. They throw them to Belarus, and this guy died in Polish forest. And after the pushback, another guy died because that was the winter, and the third guy decided to go back to his country because that was too hard for him. But maybe more about pushbacks. People trying to cross the border irregularly are often they are caught by Polish forces, and they are being pushed back. They are transported to some gates in Polish wall, or they are just throwing people to the river, because we have also a river on the border, and they are pushing them back to Belarus. Exactly, they are pushing them back to Poland because the Polish fence, it's on the Polish territory, between, not between, behind the Polish wall, main wall, this 5.5 meter. You have a 2-3 meters Polish territory. It means that they are pushing them to Polish territory, and sometimes people's asking for asylum on the side, on the fence. It means actually staying on Polish soil, but Polish soldiers, they are using pepper gas to to throw them, They have right to apply for asylum, but it's not working. And I met a guy from Syria. That was 3 weeks ago or 1 month ago, and some peoples to not be pushed back. They are asking for asylum in Poland. Also, we have some people that they won't apply for asylum in Poland. And this guy told me that he was caught. They caught him in the taxi. I mean, the taxi with the car with the smuggler. And he took him to the border guard station. And they gave him a first document to sign, and he signed it. Then they gave him another document that he couldn't understand, and they took him to the garage without any cameras. And they put the gun next to his head, and they said, the border guard said that he will shoot him if he will not sign this document. And this document, it means that he don't want apply for asylum in Poland, and he signed it because he was scared, and they pushed him back to Belarus. And the peoples, they are trying many times. Even sometimes, even 15. I met a guy from Syria, and he tried 15 times to cross the border. Yeah, you told me that it's like a ping pong, and yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's like some really horrible things happening there. Like I'm pretty shocked by. I've heard a lot of stuff on this podcast that's happened to people on the move, but some of this is really brutal. That's crazy. And I want to talk about. I think we should talk about Grupa Granica next, and a little bit. But let me just ask. In other European countries, it's like people can be charged for smuggling if they help people on the move. Like in Greece, I've heard that if you try to help someone, they can arrest you and accuse you of smuggling. And I think it's the same situation in Bosnia as well. Like, is that happening in Poland too? Like, if you help someone, can they arrest you?
Exactly. It's the perfect question because right now we have case with our friends that they help to family with 7 children, and that there was also a guy from Egypt. They gave them food and clothes, and they just wanted to help them, to take them to the city, the first city next to the border, and they was caught by border guards. The 4 of them was caught, and they have a court case right now. The court says that there was a benefit for the peoples on the move, but not a money, because they did it for free, because they were humanitarian helpers. And it means that to take them, to give them food, water, soup, it's smuggling, because they also checked our friend's house, but she only gave them a food before, and it means that they can do this to everyone who's helping on the Polish-Belarusian border.
That is crazy. That's an. I've not heard about that story. That seems. I think they need more attention. That's really crazy. Where were this? Where was the family from? Were they from Egypt? Did you say?
No, that was only one guy from Egypt, and I don't know from which country there was this family. Yeah, and we will make a call for action, of course, about this situation, because this case will start in this year. Yeah, we hope that they will not close our friend in the prison because of the dry cloths and warm soup.
Yeah, that is crazy. It's not a crime to help people, is it? Like that is just so insane. But yeah, this kind of thing is happening all across Europe, and it is just crazy. So your Grupa Granica, like you've mentioned a few times, you're going into the forest and you're meeting people. Can you just tell us a bit about how you help people, or what you do when you find people? Just tell us about like your activities at the border.
Yeah, I mean, I can explain you a whole process, because we have our alarm phone and we have our base. That our home is our base, and we are we have some pin, that's location with the peoples and how many of them and from which country they are, and also if they want to apply for asylum or not. um, and about their medical help, not always, of course, but because sometimes they cannot use phones because they are hiding and it's a night and the phone screen is invisible, and we are just packing. And of course, if there is a woman or someone old or some children in this group, we are packing what they need. I mean, for example, for time for people from Syria, for guys, they want to apply for asylum. We are packing for medium. Uh, like sets of clothes, shoes for them, water packaged with food, like first aid, some medical things, tea, soup, caps for them, some trash bags. We are just packing our backpacks and we are going to the forest. Then we are walking to them. I mean, super quiet. In the night, without any lights, because we don't want to be caught. And if we will be caught in the forest with the backpacks, that they can start to search by drone or by dogs, to find the peoples, and they will push them back to Belarus. But when we are meeting them, mostly the time they are scared that we will call to border guards. Not often, not all the time. Sorry. But when we are starting signing power of attorney if they want to apply for asylum, or we are just starting giving them food, the atmosphere is better. And today, when I talked with my friend, I just said to her that it's really interesting because in super quick time we are making a really strong relationship with them. People from some countries, it's really hard for them in someone cleaning your feet, and the peoples, they have some wounds or French food because they have wet shoes for some weeks or some days, and we are making a short relationship in short time, and we are just giving them, if they want to apply for asylum, we are telling them what will happen about the whole process, and we are explaining them that the border guards will check your body, they probably will handcuff you, they will take you to car. On the border guard station, they will make you an interview. They will take your fingerprints. If you will want to left the country, they will just Dublin you to Poland because you can apply for asylum in first safe country. And we telling them about this paper that they are giving to people, and they are just forcing them to sign this paper that they won't want apply for asylum. we are telling them everything, and sometimes they are deciding to continue their road, and it's also okay for us if someone wants to go to different country, because it's their decision, and we are giving them everything, and we need to leave them in the forest. Of course, sometimes we are also calling to ambulance.
That's a really good explanation. It's very similar. When I went to Bosnia this year with a group called No Name Kitchen, and
Yeah.
I think it's very similar work that you're doing to them. So yeah, that's I was really interesting, and then I like it's hard, isn't it? Because when you meet people, there's obviously cultural barriers, but it's hard to well, it's not hard actually. I think it's very easy. It's really fun, but I think it's emotionally it can be quite hard, right? When you meet these people and they're in a terrible situation and you want to help, but you're kind of constrained by what help you can give, right?
Yeah, I mean, when we have a space to sit a bit longer with the people, I'm asking them about their favorite food or about their religion, because they are. Because I'm white and I'm from Poland, they are quiet. Safer with me, because we signed a paper. We are sitting with them. If they want to apply for asylum, and I want to say that I really hate white saviorism, and I'm just trying to ask them some easy questions that they can stop thinking about the situation here, and they can just think about something nice for them. Sometimes when when girls want to talk about boys, we can talk about the boys, and yeah.
Well, that's really good. It's good to know that you have those conversations. That's what I experienced in Bosnia. I became really close friends to people, but they were in a terrible situation, and my situation was different. And have you experienced any harassment? Do that group of Granica or the different activists in Group of Granica at the border? Do you ever experience harassment from the authorities as well? Like you talked about those people on that are going to court, but does it happen to other people as well? Does it happen to you?
Harassment, but what do you mean about harassment? Because when you want to translate to Polish, it's
Oh, so what I mean, do the border guards ever hit you guys, or do they ever the border police ever arrest you, or do they ever do they ever treat you bad? Is what I mean.
okay. First, I will say about my story, then I will say about my friend's story. For example, like a few weeks ago, we were on the action with my friends that there was 8 guys from Syria. One guy was with a broken hand, and we walked in a huge swamp. I had a water, a mud to my hips, and I walked first because I decided to check if it's possible to cross this road. And then we saw running people to us with their white lights, and that was the border guards, and they just started recording everything, and they started screaming to us. Blah, 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 blah. After a few minutes, the border guard asked the other border guard if he have a thermovision. He just checked the thermovision, and he saw me on the thermovision, because I'm quite hot. And my backpack with the tea and soup, it's also hot. And I heard that he opening his taser, and I started screaming in Polish because he wanted to shoot me by the taser, and I started screaming in Polish, kurwa, I mean the most common Polish word, don't shoot me, because I was stressed, and I was like 5 meters from my friends, and he almost, shoot me by taser
Oh my God.
to my head or to the water, because it will be, the same feeling, because I was in the water.
Yeah.
And I think he thought that I am the person in the move, that I am a refugee. And that was the story from a few weeks ago. And also, I have the similar story when I lied on the ground, and the border guard thought that I'm a refugee, and he's almost beaten me by the fucking stick, because he thought that I'm a refugee. But also, my friend's story, it means that I was on this action. I was a driver, and the border guards followed us. And there was a guy from Ethiopia, and really close to the border. I mean, 100, 120 meters from the border. And he lied in the hall on the field. And he wanted to apply for asylum because he says to our alarm phone. And we just decide to go with the border guard to him, that he will sign a power of attorney next to us. But they came first. I mean, 6 seconds before my friend. And when my friend, after 6 seconds, came, the border guards, they just put her to the ground because she wanted to sign a power of attorney with this guy, and they put her hands to the ground. He just lied like a cross on the ground, and she couldn't move because she wanted to help him. She wanted to sign a power of attorney with him because he says that he won't apply for asylum in Poland. And that was really hard for every of us on this action. I was only in car because the army and border guards blocked me from both sides, that I couldn't move. I think they were scared what they did, and they let him go to open camp. And it's a happy end, but that was really destroying for my friends who were just there.
When you talked about the taser, they didn't shoot you with the taser, right?
I have also a story when just bodyguards stopped me, and they know who we are. After 2.5 years, they checked me that much times that they have some notes somewhere that I'm a fucking activist for them. And I remember I was on vacation in Albania, and Albania, it's not in the European Union, and I needed to have a passport check. And on the airport, when the border guards took my passport, and he just checked a passport, he just screamed to their friends to come, and he started counting how many times they checked me, and they stopped me on the airport, because that much times they checked me. But I wanted to say my story. When the border guards stopped me, I wanted to go to guys from Ethiopia, and because in this year that was a lot of people from Ethiopia and Eritrea, and he stopped me. And he started asking me about my work, and I told him about the situation with the taser, and he asked me, "You are not scared that someone will shoot you?" And I was really amazed that they are thinking that their friends, their colleagues from the work, they can do this.
Yeah, that is pretty bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrible. So I mean, I realise we're going a bit long here, and this is really good. Are you okay if we just do a few more questions? Are you okay for time?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
So let's talk about.
I can stop for a second. I want to say that I love the No Name Kitchen.
Yeah, they are great.
Continue.
No Name Kitchen are brilliant. So yeah, tell us about. So I think that Poland had a really right wing government for a long time, and now you've got a new president, Donald Tusk, and I think many people in the West, many people in the UK, thought that this is going to be great. Poland's got rid of their bad government. They've got this liberal in. I don't know if he is a liberal, but that's what the media kind of portrayed him as. And but then I read the other day that he wants to suspend the right to asylum, wants to temporarily suspend the right for people to claim asylum. So yeah, can you tell us about that? It seems totally crazy.
Yeah, I wanted to say first that the Tusk is currently the prime minister. Andrzej Duda is president, and he's from the Peace Party, the more right party. But the Donald Tusk is like a bit more, like central party, and the law that he wants to implement will be like a nightmare. It's like a clear violent and a clear violation of human rights at the border. Like people are seeking safety and the right for ask for asylum, the right to asylum, it's the one of the most basic rights on this world. And our media in Poland, unfortunately, society first difference, and the media thing. The media, they are trying to scare us with the image of the terrible people coming here. Often they are portraying them like a Islamic terrorist, and as a result of this shitty thing, many peoples in Poland, not only in Poland and in Europe, they are support restricting their rights to break people on the move rights, and taking away the dignity of people on the move, and it's horrible. Yeah.
It is terrible. I mean, why is Donald Tusk? Sorry, yeah, he's the prime minister. Why does he want to do this? What's the motive? Is he under pressure? Like, we have a new government in the UK, and they're not as bad as that, but they're better than the last government with regards to asylum seekers, but they're not great. Why does he want to do this?
I don't really know. I think that they want to do it because they are afraid of being different or something like this. Before the election, also they said that they will do a lot of for abortion, or a lot of for LGBTQ plus community, but they are doing nothing, like nothing, and they are just another and another government that they are, just lying to us, and they don't want these peoples in Europe, but we know that we need them. I also love the inclusive and diverse
diversity.
Yes, like diverse society. Yeah, and they are sometimes hard ignorant. I mean, the Polish forces. The situation with the Ethiopian guy shows me how much they are ignorant, because they said that he's probably Islamic terrorist for us, and you know that the people from this country mostly they are
Christian.
Christian, yeah.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
And he had a cross on his neck, and he said that he's a fucking Islamic terrorist.
Yeah, that's awful. I mean, it's just sad that because it's the same situation all across Europe. It's really terrible.
Yeah.
And I think even in the US, some people think in the United States that people coming from Mexico are Islamic terrorists. It's just crazy. Anyway, so let's just, before I go into the last few questions, I don't know, what's Frontex role in all of this? Do you know? Can you speak about that?
I want to say that we don't have Frontex on our border. They will just ask them, I think, in a few years. Like they will just invite them here. But right now, we don't know anything about the Frontex and their role on our border.
That is good that they're not there. I think they're in the border with Greece and Turkey, I think, and I know they're in a lot in the Central Mediterranean.
And Macedonia, I think, because the Polish government sending a border guards there also.
Oh yeah, I read just about Donald Tusk again. I read that Finland has done the same kind of. Finland blocked people from claiming asylum for a year, which is illegal. But I read that what Finland did would be better than what Donald Tusk is proposing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because Finland, I don't know if they're still doing this. I'll have to look in the. We can explain after the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Finland it's not going to push kids back. It won't push people who are disabled, and they said they won't push back vulnerable people. But I don't know how they know that these people are vulnerable or not. How do they judge that? Anyway.
Exactly. They want to push the treating people back, but I don't know how they will check some aggressive people, something like this. They want to push them back. But Donald Tusk says also that we need some of them if they will be if we will check that we need them, we will. How to say that Donald Tusk says that if they will check that we need this person, for example, he's working in IT or something like this, that he will be welcome in our country. That if someone will want to work in our country, but I don't know how they will check it on the Polish-Belarusian border. Sometimes even pushing them peoples that they are nurses or doctors. Not all of them, of course. Sometimes they are some mechanics or normal or workers, but I don't know how they will check that someone wants to work in Polish country, like in IT. And also if someone is from LGBTQ plus community, or the women with the children. No, I don't want to say this. I want to say that if a mom with child, she's crossing the border, they cannot think that she will work for our country. And they will push back because we don't need her. Like, I cannot understand this. And I just want to say that they can't push back her to Belarus. And she need to carry their babies. She don't need to work in our country. I mean, in Poland. Oh, I'm tired.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? That, like, how do you know that someone has skills that you need at the border? And I hate this way of treating people like a commodity, like treating people like an object. It's awful. They're a person. They have rights. Let's go to the last question then, because it's getting late now, isn't it? Can you? Was there anything else you wanted to talk about before my last question?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to say about white saviorism on our border, because I really hate it and it's awful for me. And there is some people that they want to make a career of on human that they want to make a career on human suffering, and it's horrible. I'm not helping people because because I want to make a career. I just want to help them because it can be bad, what I will say, because it's a human crisis. But I really like this work. I mean, it's hard, and they are in that situation, not me. And yeah, I want to say that the fuck a white saviorism, and we don't need people who want to make a career on human suffering. We have some of these people, and we are just not cooperating with them at all, because we are disgusted. Yeah, of making photos after the funerals with some members from families when they are smiling. Also, we don't need to use people's faces on the photos because they can recognize them if they are going to different countries. For example, to England, they can, or to Germany, everywhere in Europe, they can see that they were in Poland when we are posting their faces. Yeah, I just want to say that we don't need a white saviorism.
Yeah, fuck white saviorism. And so the last question then is how are you feeling about the future, Ola? Do you think the situation is going to get any better anytime soon?
As for the future, I don't know what will happen. I know we lack empathy, especially among the politicians, and that applies to every government. And I often wonder, I'm thinking what radicalized me, and it's this lack of empathy. And I hope something changed. I hope that something will change. But in the Poland, we have a short letter. The hope is the mother of falls. And I know that some people hoped, and that after the government changed last year, things would improve. But nothing changed. The same people's working here, I mean, in border guard or in military, and nothing changed. Like, I mean, they are beating them, and sometimes I'm thinking that I don't have hope.
Yeah, but that I can agree. That's like, it just feels like everything gets worse.
Yeah.
Well, Ola, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate you talking to me. I've wanted to get somebody to talk to me about Poland since I started this podcast, so it's really, really good. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Okay, that was episode 64 of the Silver Fleet podcast. Thank you very, very much for listening. Thanks again to Ola and everyone at Grupa Granica for coming on the podcast and talking to us and telling us about the situation there at the Poland-Belarus border. Crazy situation, isn't it? Right, check out the Silver Fleet blog, that's silverfleet.com, for some reports and exclusive stories and interviews, that kind of stuff. Also, if you like what we're doing, you can share the podcast around, tell your friends about it, follow us on social media, and you can make a donation to help us cover the costs of platforming these amazing people. The Silver Fleet's costs are really low, but any help that you can give us will be greatly appreciated. It's quite motivating, actually. So you can go to ko-fi.com/silverfleet, and you can donate the cost of a coffee or a beer or a Ferrari or a private jet to the Maldives. It's up to you. And there's also a bonus episode on there now. So yeah, I should have mentioned that at the beginning, I think. Anyway, if you'd like to make a donation to the Silver Fleet, you can do that by going to ko-fi.com/silverfleet and make a donation there. Anyway, hopefully we will have another episode out for you soon. Thanks for listening and following and all the stuff you do. Cheers.